It's no secret that MLB has pivoted away from contact hitting and towards the 3 true outcomes in recent years. For the past 15 seasons, strikeouts, walks, and home runs have been on the rise, while batting averages have been going down. Which, is fine. Baseball is still baseball, but there's some magic missing in 3 true outcomes baseball. Balls in play are usually the most exciting moments in any given game, so it's no surprise that a lot of fans are clamoring for a return to more traditional hitting methods, at least from a spectator's perspective. If you like balls in play, then you probably would have liked baseball from the Deadball era, where strikeouts and home runs were almost non-existent and league-wide batting averages were higher. Stars like Ty Cobb and Shoeless Joe Jackson would routinely hit over 350, which is something nobody has done in the majors over a full season since 2010. But what if I told you there were still a handful of players today that still hit in the style of these classic Deadball era hitters? They almost never strike out and hit for good averages, but that also means they don't walk a ton or hit many homers. But for a spectator that wants to see balls put in play, these 5 guys are who you want to see at the plate. Our first player will be a fan favorite you're almost definitely familiar with, but one who I think doesn't get enough credit for being an actually good baseball player instead of just a meme. That man, of course, is David Fletcher, the multi-positional contact-hitting whiz for the Angels. Fletcher is slated as the opening day second baseman in Anaheim, a position he should compete for a Gold Glove at, but he'll definitely see plenty of innings around the infield and probably the outfield as well, which is a big factor in his value. But Fletcher isn't the classic all-glove, no-hit middle infielder, even though that's what he was profiled to be in the minors due to his 5'9" frame. Even though Fletcher has almost no power, with just 10 career homers and a .386 slugging percentage, he makes up for it with prodigious bat-to-ball skills. In 2019 and 2020, Fletcher had the lowest whiff rate in the league, with a 9.7% swing and miss percentage for his career. He's converted this into a .292 career average, a StatCast expected batting average in the 90th percentile, and the single lowest strikeout rate in the league among qualified hitters over the last 2 years. All this despite hitting the ball less hard than almost anyone, with a first percentile barrel rate in both 2019 and 2020, which is a common thread you'll see for a lot of the players on this list. On the other hand, Fletcher walks at almost a league average rate, which differentiates him from a lot of the other players on this list. Fletcher has a flat average career 100 WRC+, but in 2020 he had the best year of his career with a 123 WRC+, while mostly hitting out of the leadoff spot. He had the best BABIP of his career without significantly better bat-to-ball numbers, so I don't think he'll repeat that performance, but he should still be an above-average hitter. Combine that with his Gold Glove caliber defense at second or third, and positional flexibility, and Fletcher is a 4+ WAR player who deserves more than just being a meme for the rest of his career. Let's now talk about a pair of Minnesota Twins, a franchise that seems to breed perennially underappreciated players. Our highlight today will be on Luis Arraez and Willians Astudillo, 2 masters of avoiding the strikeout. Arraez has more games under his belt, so we'll start with him. He debuted in 2019 and isn't much of a defender, he doesn't hit the ball hard, he really doesn't take any walks, but despite that has been one of the best second basemen in baseball by WAR per plate appearance over the past 2 seasons. He has a career 122 WRC+ and .331 batting average, while maintaining just an 8.2% strikeout rate. If he had enough at-bats to qualify, that'd be the best in baseball, even better than David Fletcher. Overall, Arraez has slightly better StatCast numbers than Fletcher, though quite similar, so he'll probably be a slightly better hitter. He's also pretty substantially worse on defense though, so the two should end up being about the same value in 2021. Willians Astudillo, on the other hand, doesn't have much experience in the majors, but has already cemented his status as a cult hero. La Tortuga, as he's known, is pretty much David Fletcher and Luis Arraez with all their attributes amplified. Listeners to the seminal podcast Effectively Wild are certainly familiar with this, since he was seen as an oddity as early as his days in A-ball. See, Astudillo never strikes out. He doesn't figuratively never strike out like David Fletcher. Astudillo can actually go weeks at a time without striking out. In his longest season in the majors, 2019, La Tortuga in 204 plate appearances struck out 8 times. 8. His 3.9% K rate was less than half the qualified leader and about a fifth of the league average. That's not all though. His career 2.2% walk rate is the lowest among all players with at least 300 plate appearances in the last 3 years. Factor in that he only has 8 career home runs, and Astudillo without a doubt puts the ball in play at a higher rate than anyone else in the majors. He's also unique in that he's a primary catcher, although he can also play corner infield. He isn't the best defender, and his lack of plate discipline and power means his offense is capped, but he's been about average at the plate in his career with a 97 WRC+. That's actually above average for a catcher, so Astudillo has the potential to be a valuable player. Let's go to Miami next to talk about Miguel Rojas. Rojas has quietly been a very productive player over the past couple seasons, although it's mostly been due to his stellar defense at shortstop. But Rojas had an excellent year at the plate in 2020 with a 142 WRC+, so it's worth taking a look at his hitting profile as well. He has similar StatCast profiles to Arraez and Fletcher, with a well below average walk rate and a great strikeout rate, though neither are quite as superlative as the other players on the list. What sets Rojas apart from everyone else is his defense at a premium position. Funnily enough, 3 out of the 5 players in this list are primary second basemen, but shortstop is the most important position on defense other than catcher and thus tends to attract glove-first players. Rojas without a doubt is a glove-first player, and I never expect him to be as good as he was in 2020 at the plate over a full season since his peripherals aren't sustainable, but he put up a career-best walk rate last year, so if he can keep that going along with his low strikeout rate, he should be above average at the plate with great defense at short. Our final player is a recent free agent signing for the Royals, former Oriole Hanser Alberto. One of my favorite storylines in 2019 was Alberto's unlikely chase for the AL batting title, while playing on the 100-loss Orioles and having some of the worst StatCast numbers in the league. He actually came surprisingly close, finishing with a .305 average and leading the AL as late as August. Despite Alberto's great average though, he almost never walks with just a 2.6% walk rate, leading to just a .329 on base percentage and a 97 WRC+ in his 2019 season. In 2019, Alberto was a good defender at second, but his defense fell off a cliff last season, so I'm not sure which version we'll see in 2021. Alberto in 2020 was a bit worse at the plate, but still had a .283 average and an 89 WRC+, so he should be able to be a near-average player overall. The Orioles non-tendered him in the offseason, and he was picked up by Kansas City on a non-roster invite, so I'll be excited to see how he does in a more utility-style role that we'll see players like Luis Arraez be used in going forward. So there's 5 MLB players that put the ball in play a ton and harken back to a different era in baseball. Of the 5, Fletcher is probably the best with Arraez a close second. Rojas is a solid everyday player, while Astudillo and Alberto are still up in the air, but their bat-to-ball skill gives them the ability to contribute despite their other shortcomings. If you're like me and have a soft spot for light-hitting utility guys that don't strike out, maybe because that's the type of player I was, then these are the 5 guys you should be following in the 2021 season. Thanks for sticking around. If you're enjoying the content, it helps me out a ton to sub to the channel and follow my Twitter. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.